Hi, guys. So, I want to talk today about my system for negative emotions. And I know it probably sounds a little crazy even to have a system for negative emotions, but I realized a couple of years ago that my way of dealing with them was to not deal with them. I actually thought it was kind of a strength to just push through things. After all, a lot of things happen in life that you don't like. You might as well just keep going and not ignore it instead of actually looking at your emotions. And it took me a while to realize that that was actually giving those emotions more power over me. Um, so I developed this system for dealing with them. The first thing I do whenever I realize I'm feeling grumpy or irritable or frustrated or flustered or whatever that negative emotion is to ask myself, what am I feeling? And that probably sounds crazy to some of you too, but I actually have trouble figuring that out. My negative emotions often come out as anger when they're not actually anger. So I have to sit down and sort of analyze what that is. But for this exercise, let's pretend it is anger. Let's say that I've asked myself what I'm feeling and it's anger. All right. So my second question that I ask myself is that anger valid? And I ask myself that because sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'm tired or hungry or I don't feel good or I've had 5 other annoying things that happened to me today and this is the 6th annoying thing and now I'm mad, but I'm not mad at this guy. I'm just it's just a bad day and it's not fair to let anger have its way if this is just the 6th thing in a run and this guy didn't do anything that was that terrible. So I try to analyze that. Okay, but if it's not valid and I do determine it's just because I'm tired or whatever, then it's time to let that feeling go and not keep ruminating and living in that frustrated negative place, and to give it to God and trust him with it. So I know that's easier said than done, and we'll get to that in a minute. But if the anger is valid, there is a situation that really, somebody does nothing wrong and something needs to be addressed or something needs to be done about it. So that's the next, when we come to the next question. Your anger is valid. So the next question is there anything productive you can do about it? And the productive part of that question is very important because I often want to do things that wouldn't be productive at all, like telling someone off or just, letting them have it or whatever. And that is rarely productive. It doesn't usually solve the problem. It doesn't usually make you feel better in the long run. So that's not a productive solution. Also, sometimes I found that there are some people that it is not productive to address things with. And sometimes you know that in advance and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's a learning process and you realize that, okay, this is not a person that I can have this kind of discussion with in the future. So and talking to some people whenever they've actually done something that is worth being angry at is just not productive. So if you realize that there's absolutely nothing productive you can do to solve this problem, the next step is to let it go. Trust God with it, because hanging on to it is pointless. It's absolutely not beneficial in any way, shape, or form. But if there is something productive you can do about it, to go do that thing right now, and don't wait and don't sit on it, because that just extends the negativity. So I will say there are times when I've done the thing that I was the only thing I could think of to do it, and it doesn't solve the problem. Sometimes the negative emotion is because I know I've done something wrong and I need to apologize and I need to talk to somebody about it. And sometimes that person doesn't forgive me. And I can choose then to continue wallowing in feeling guilty about that, or I can recognize that I am a flawed person and that I can't fix everything, and that if that's the only way I can think of to solve whatever happened, then I might as well let it go, because I can't do anything more. Sometimes there is something more you could do. If there might be a physical action you can take that would resolve it. So that's when you just have to keep asking yourself, is there anything productive that I can do? And once you get to the point where there's not, you have to let it go, because again, it's not helping anything. So the let it go part is the part that I said earlier, I realize is easier said than done. And it's a thing that I have to do over and over again. I might have to do it over and over again for the same scenario. But eventually it becomes a habit. Just like this whole process has basically become a habit for me. And I don't, my turnaround time for dwelling on negative emotions is much quicker than it used to be before I did this, because I used to would just kind of wallow in them for days. And now I can usually pull myself out of it by going through this process, and I don't even have to go through it consciously that much anymore because it's become such a habit. So I just want to encourage you to try something like that for yourself if you have the problem of ruminating and wallowing in things, and see how it goes. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it helped you. And if you like the content, you can visit my website at cewhitebooks.com. I have a book coming out soon called Trusting God When You're Struggling, Overcoming Obstacles to Faith. And I have a couple of books already existing out. And subscribe below if you want more videos.